to this now. Deputy National Police Commissioner Tebello Mosikili is calling for the effective use of additional resources sent to the Western Cape. She was speaking at the launch of the province's safer festive season operations in Khayelitsha. Several cars were handed over. This is to help fight a spike in murders and gang-related activities in Cape Town.
Just the past week, we presented before the the Select Committee of Justice. We paraded before the civil society group in the Western Cape, outlining the collective and integrated plan to fight crime in the Cape Friends. It is for this reason that these additional resources needs to be utilized to fight the crime that we see. It is reducing at some point, it escalates, but it requires consistency. It requires all of us to take that responsibility.
All right, let's get some perspective now on the fight against crime and criminality in the Western Cape province, particularly ahead of the festive season. And we speak now to the Western Cape Police MEC Anroux Marais, and she talks to us now. Good evening to you, MEC. Thank you very much for your time. We're edging close to the festive season, and murders in the Western Cape, particularly in areas surrounding Cape Town, they are not easing up. What is the strategy?
Good evening, and good evening to all our viewers as well. You know, I welcome the Safer Festive Season operational plan because we will see more boots on the ground, specifically in a period where it is prone to a higher level of opportunistic crimes. And then with Operation Chanela 2, we will force, or the SAPS will force, lockdown operations, which will continue to focus on gang-related violence, dismantling the organized crime networks. And furthermore, I must say I commend the officers that will be not taking vacational leave to ensure there's more officers available for duty during the festive season. And also that's welcoming is that they will focus, SAPS will focus on crime against women and children and GBV. And then they will also have high-density operations and roadblocks, and ensuring that our citizens is safer on our roads as well as in our areas. And then lastly, you know, they will be very hard on persons who drive while intoxicated.
Yeah. The Deputy National Commissioner handing over some much-needed resources, and importantly, these are police vehicles. But she had this to say about that, and that is that these are not for buying groceries or taking children to school, and they are neither for girlfriends or boyfriends. Talk to us about visibility in the streets of the police. Do you think that this is going to add some impetus in order to try and scare away those who are going to, as you mentioned earlier, try and engage in opportunistic crimes?
Yes, it will definitely do so. Visibility is key. And, you know, all our police stations across the province, and specifically in the city of Cape Town, the vehicles are really in dire straits. You know, some of them have got 200, 500,000 kilos on. And this will help a lot to help with visibility. And, you know, it scares some of the communities. And what is also very important is that the community must trust the police. So it will help with that trust between community and SAPS members. Let's
talk about the opportunistic crimes that you mentioned earlier. Tourists are going to flock even more to the Western Cape. It is a tourist attraction. What kinds of crimes do you normally see during festive season? It is a very busy period. And let's add to this, whether or not you have additional capacity. Am I correct to say that you have some peace officers that also help in this regard?
Yes, we do have some peace officers, and then also the City of Cape Town allocated or deployed 5 officers to each ward in the City of Cape Town that will help us combat this crime, specifically opportunistic crimes. And it's usually, the cell phone, they stole a cell phone, they bump into people and grab their bags. It's more of those little, I want to say it's petty crime, but for you it's a big crime. And that's alarming that we've had recently, but SAPS was very on it, is that in the hotel rooms, if the tourist don't look after their stuff and lock it away, it is stolen by some of the people entering the room. Not hotel staff. Sometimes they get some people in to help them, and then that is happening. But I must say there was one incident last week, and SAPS was on it immediately, and they arrested the perpetrator as well. So tourists must be very careful, be safe, look after their belongings, and just keep your handbag very close to you. I always want to say to your heart.
Yeah. Let's talk about the murder rate, MEC, particularly in township areas. It's scary, to say the least. What is driving up the murder rate in the Western Cape?
It is scary, and unfortunately, I cannot say what exactly it is. It is, this generation gangsterism, and then it's between, I'm going to say, they want turf, the drug trail. That is what it's all about, So it's between the gangs, like the fancy boys fights with the 26 or the 28 fights among themselves. And especially when a high fly is arrested or murdered, then the younger gang members fight for positioning themselves in the gangs areas. But that's concerning, and we really have successes with illegal firearms and ammunition, specifically our LEAP officers, as well as SAPS, that confiscated recently almost 812 firearms. The only concern that I've got, they confiscate the firearms, they go to court, and then sometimes they release the perpetrators are released again, and we really don't know what happened to the firearm. It pitch up in the streets because our conviction rate is not good. But we try our best in the Western Cape, and I must say the LEAP officers have fantastic successes the last month or so.
Finally, do you believe that the commissioner in the Western Cape, Thembisile Patekile, has a handle on this with his men and women in blue?
I believe so, specifically with his men and women in blue. They dedicated, I know, most of the police officers in the stations, specifically the station commanders, and they're really dedicated, and they work long hours, and they don't mind working after hours without any remuneration.
Anroux Marais, thank you very much for your time. The MEC of Community Safety in the Western Cape, thank you for your time.